Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen.
With me today is Debbie G of Spirituality Gone Wild.
This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today.
Our friend Neo is still suffering the side effects of his kid's little bug that he picked up at school last week, so he won't be able to join us, which is kind of a sad thing, particularly because of Neo's background as a former police officer, and our guest is also a former police officer. That could have made some really, really cool conversational points right there. But Neo, if you're watching, we wish you all the best. Feel better soon. We'll see you again next week. And Debbie's also kind of dealing with stuff today, but she's a trooper as usual. She's just here after her amazing experience this past week running Unify's International Peace Day. And my goodness, I mean, you had some names on there. I didn't see all of it. I know that there were some messages from like Michael Douglas and Leonardo DiCaprio, and there were others there. I didn't even see who the whole list was. I know Deepak Chopra was involved. I mean, wow, you had an event there, girl.
Yeah, we sure did. Miranda Clendenning, the director of Unify, she was out in New York City in New York Times Square, and it was just incredible. I have some snippets. You know what? We'll definitely we'll do that coming up soon.
Sounds good. All right.
We'll do some snippets. But I wanted to hold tight just 1 second there. Geez, do you see him, Joel? Do you see? By the way, our guest is coming up. He's going to rock. Y'all are going to love this. So one of the things that was really exciting about Unified, if you guys haven't checked out Unify, go to unify.org or go over to Facebook and look at Unify when you're done either watching this or listening to us live, one of the two. But please get involved with Unify. Unify is all about all things peace, all things gratitude, all things kindness. And Walt was featured last night. He was one of our chosen featured speakers that we got to play in our grand finale, which was phenomenal. And Walt, they're loving you, by the way.
Really?
Comments,
cool.
Yeah, the comments and stuff coming through are super cool. Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
And I just want to show everybody the ones for those listening. I personally chose you and Louise because I needed to, because I thought that was the cutest picture. And
oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So it was really awesome. So everybody, please go to Unify on Facebook here and look for Walt's presentation. It was wonderful, and it'll be replayed again, so you can watch for that too. And we have the Symphony of Gratitude that's going to be coming in December. And that's going to be a gigantic thing. So watch for the information on how to submit your note of gratitude, your note of appreciation. We'll be getting votes on the notes of appreciation. Who's got the best gratitude in the house?
We have a gratitude competition.
It's like dancing. What is that? What are those shows? The ones that you
Dancing with the Stars kind of thing?
Dancing with the Stars. Yeah. It's Dancing with Gratitude. Ooh, that's actually kind of cute. I'm liking that.
That's a good one. You got to put that down. Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay. That's good enough. That's a good, hey, after the week you've had, that's like a month right there. So well done. You and your team did a great job.
The highlights coming are going to blow your mind. We also had we had a really special message in the Congress of Peace from the Dalai Lama, which I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And there were some in the Congress of Peace, which is part of Peace Week, was incredible. And of course, Ben Baller's Unity Earth has just been blowing it up. John Raymer's The Sign Network, just extraordinary. Right now, what you're seeing and what you're hearing from me, Joel, I'm really glad that you're here to hear this. You're in the right place at the right time, and here's why. Because the collective is pulling together in a ginormous freaking web, and there's no stopping us. We're talking about networks millions wide, not just a couple. So these things we're talking about have aired all over the world. We're hitting millions of people, and we got the two top TikTokers, Mackenzie. I can't remember her last name.
That's all right.
I don't know. No, Mackenzie Brooks. And if you go to Mackenzie Brooks on TikTok, you can see the pie in the face for peace challenge.
I love it.
So These kids, I love them. They're awesome. And they were also, we flew them out to New York. So that was pretty rad.
That sounds like a great time for
Yeah.
everybody. Really, really good stuff. Well done. Well
Yeah.
done to everybody. And
Awesome.
we do need to bring Joel in here because Joel is also a really cool guy. He's got himself his own podcast called The Hacked Life. But he's also a health coach. He's an integrative health practitioner. He works with clients, helping to get to the root cause of their issues, weight loss, gut health, something more serious like autoimmune. I mean, all the different kinds of things that people are dealing with. And he also makes those parts of the commentary and talking points on his podcast. So he's going to have a lot to tell us today about what it takes to achieve his motto, which is live healthy, live happy. Joel, Evan, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Let's go, guys. This was exciting. I mean, I just loving the energy and the abundance and gratitude. And I think, Debbie, you're 100% right. Like, we are part of this collective. I receive that. I feel that. The more I know I've leaned in when times have been difficult, and when the more I've leaned into my truth and aligned with that, only good things have happened. And I've only aligned with people like yourself and the people that I really feel like I was called to align with, that I would never have met or known had I not taken that step towards that truth. So I love that you reiterated that and reaffirmed that for me, because believe me, I get all the doubts. I'm sure that we all have, that am I doing this? Is this the right thing? Should I be doing this? And it was really nice to hear you say that. So yeah, thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Rock on. Woo! Rock on. You know
Love
what?
it.
I love that. That is awesome. You rock. Thank you.
Thanks.
And thanks for the way you show up, because the sacred yes, man, it's better. That's like, we were talking about that. That sacred yes is everything, right, Walt? Right,
Oh,
Joel?
absolutely.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Once you're doing it. You're actually, I know that you're right where you should be. I don't even know anything about you, and I already know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm here. I'm right here. So
Right here, right now.
I
Yeah.
must be in the right spot, right?
I'm
'Cause
pretty
I'm
sure.
with you
Yeah.
guys.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's good.
Well, and I was loving what you were saying when you talked about how things and people came into your life at just the right time in just the right way, because you're right, when you get yourself into that space where you're in total alignment with yourself, and you're onto the thing that really juices your life, stuff happens.
Yeah. The magic happens. I mean, I could tell you, like, you want to kind of talk. I could talk about like a personal experience about kind of.
We hate stories around
you.
You
Hate
Don't
that?
tell any stories.
I mean, we only have like an hour or 45 minutes.
Right.
I guess. We were talking offline, Walt, and I was just telling you some of my past, and you said, "Hey, why did you move to Idaho?" I'm like, "Well, it's complicated." And you're like, "I just wanted to know why you moved." I'm like, "No, but you have to understand, like, there's a reason, like, how I got here." Now, I'm, just turned 40 years old, and, I was born and raised in California. And the last 10 years of my life, I was in, Debbie's saying, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I was in San
Debbie.
Francisco the last 10 years of my life specifically. And so my background on paper was, I was a police officer, and I worked in Oakland, California, which is like one of the most dangerous known cities in the nation. I think it's like at least top 5. I haven't paid attention anymore since I left, but it was like top 5, at least for robbery, homicides, things like that. Violent crime, it was always top 5. So, and I'm sure it still is. So I worked there for about 6 years, and then I migrated over to San Francisco. And, life wasn't so bad until I had a kid about 8 years ago. And it really made me rethink what I was doing. And I think it's, some people call it a midlife crisis. I don't think it was that. It was just, I started to evolve. I started to change, and I started to ask myself, like, what do I really want? Right. And I realized I wanted to help people in a different way than just police work, because I felt like I wasn't doing it on the job. So I started doing all these health coaching certifications, because I was watching people around me, my family, get sick. And although I knew a lot about health, I didn't know the systematic processes and protocols to get them better. And there's things I could tell them, like, sure, go out and take some glutathione, take some vitamin C, take some zinc. Everybody knows that, right? Oh, you have candida yeast overgrowth. Take some oregano oil. Well, that's great, but guess what? Oregano oil doesn't get rid of your candida. It might help, but it doesn't get you better. So I wanted to know, how do I get people better? And so I kept going down this path, and, here's what my stumbling blocks were. I had another kid. So I lost time. I had no time, no money, because I was the only one working, and my wife took care of the kids, which, by the way, I will always say she does way more than me. So let's be very clear. But in terms of money, like, that was my job. That was my day job. And so I was plugging along until just last year when the San Francisco Police Department decided to fire me because I wouldn't get the juice, or I don't know. I don't want to say the word because they might, I don't know if they might censor us. I don't want to be censored, but I didn't get.
Well, we're not subject to the FCC because we're not on the air, so you can feel safe about that part anyway.
Okay, I know if I mention like certain words and it triggers, the algorithm. So, bottom line is I didn't comply with certain mandates and that were in certain cities, and I didn't get it, and it was a tough decision for me. And so when I talk about alignment, it was something I had to really dive deep and go, well, what am I going to do? Because I'll tell you right now, I could have easily lied and forged some vax paper. Oh, there I said the word. I could have forged something, and I could have easily, kept going on with my normal life, and life would have been fine. Nothing would have changed. Right. But something called me that this is wrong. Like, I don't believe in this. I'm not going to do it. And I felt like I was compelled to be a leader at that time and do something that was really out of the ordinary. And so I really thought deep on it, and I thought, what's the worst that can happen? And the worst I found out is that they were going to fire me and I would lose all my money. But here's the good thing. This is what I realized. You can fire me, you can take all my money. So what? I still have my family. I still have my health. I still have my soul. And so I started to smile. I said, life is good. I'll figure out a way to make money somehow. And so I embarked on that journey, and and then that gave me the propulsion to actually launch my full-time virtual health coaching business. And so here I am now talking to you guys and working the podcast full-time as well.
I think that's awesome. Well, kudos for listening to your gut, literally. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling we're going to hear all about it. You can't be into health and, in my world, be willing to say yes to that, because I love that you did that, and I commend that, because I'm just like that. No.
Yeah.
I'm not. No. Just never. Just
yeah.
Why would it? Well, okay, look, I went into my doctor. My doctor's like, it was a pulmonologist, even though
that's exactly the way doctors sound, by the way.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
So my lungs are fine. But anyway, so, blah, 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 and I'm like, just sitting there, just looking at him. And you know what I said? Normally, I would have said something like, did I really request that opinion? However, this time I did not. I just simply said, I'll just go ahead and see if that resonates with me later. Thank you.
very, very diplomatic of you. I commend you.
You know something? I'm slowly learning to be more diplomatic, and I didn't just say I didn't hear a request for that.
That was kind of you, yeah, because I know my mother-in-law goes to the doctors all the times, and it's the same thing what you're saying, and they're just like, you got to do this, you got to do that, and they're never listening to her, and she's like, I don't want to do that, I want to do this, and they're like, yeah, but we're not gonna do that, and man, she gets so frustrated. So I know exactly what you mean.
But that's probably why one of the reasons you're in the way you're doing, if I had to guess, and is also seeing other people and yourself not being well. And I heard gut health, and I want to take a dive, because if you can't heal from just doing the oregano and you've got a candida overgrowth, I'm going to guess it's your gut.
If you've got candida, yeah, it's for sure your gut.
I'm going to guess.
Yeah, you've got some yeast overgrowth.
Is it little worms too?
Parasites are a big one, right? That's something that, in the past in my studies, I was, I'm aware of them. There's these things, there's parasites, right? But the more I've started to learn, actually, from just studying from other functional medicine docs that I'm associated with, they are one of the biggest stealth infections, really. And when it comes to especially autoimmune, I think that's an area that people really need to probably plug into, because I think that is a huge root cause issue for a lot of autoimmune from what we're seeing. And parasites are so bad. And here's the thing. You can go out and you can remove, let's say, heavy metals from your body. Well, guess what? Parasites are sponges for heavy metals. So you have to know, you need to get rid of the parasites first, because if you take care of heavy metals, you're still going to go back and get your test done, and you're still going to have levels of heavy metals. Why? Because the parasites are sponges for them. So these little creatures are devilish, and they're a lot more common than we think. I think everyone thinks, oh, well, I can't possibly have that. I didn't go to Mexico. I didn't go to a third world country. You don't have to, guys. You don't have to. You can easily get them. You can easily get them from just the drinking water. You can get them from walking barefoot outside. So there's a lot of ways to get parasites. And yeah, I think you're right. That's a huge problem.
Okay, but I love what you're talking about. But I really want to know, okay, because in gut health, though, this is where I'm at right now. I want to do another cleanse. Look at me. I'm just taking, like, I'm going to get third.
Debbie said, I'm only going to be on for 5 minutes.
I swear.
Yeah,
I told you when I heard what you were doing, I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to stay.
Beautiful.
I'm just going to ignore it. I get so energized being here that everything else goes out the window. My neck could hurt. I don't care.
Yep.
Okay. So right now, like my husband and I, we were talking about doing another cleanse. And I'm curious about that. What do you think about cleanses with your gut? And when you say gut health, are you talking about how? I'm really going to be curious. What are you using to populate the probiotics, the prebiotics, and to do all this? I want some new information because I don't know that what we've been doing is it.
Yeah. So for my first question to you is, when you say cleanse, what does that mean? Like, what is a cleanse to you?
So a cleanse to me is relaxing the digestive system and letting it rest. So just letting it rest and letting it heal while not putting any not taxing the body, just allowing the body to rest and detox all of the stuff out, like a mostly vegetable cleanse or something like that, where you're still getting the microcytic nutrients, but you're not doing any macro.
Is it in juice form, Debbie, or is it are you doing like juices to facilitate that? Or
we've done juicing. We haven't done the water fasting.
Okay.
But we've done the juicing, which I thought was okay. I mean, juicing is good, but not long term, obviously, because there's no fiber. But yeah, we did.
So
that.
You're just eating plants. That's is typically for your cleanses.
Yeah.
Right? So a couple things to think about that. This is a great question, right? Because I do a lot of functional medicine detoxes with a lot of my clients, and I see amazing results from weight loss to just drainage, lymph flow, less puffiness. Clearing out some of that adipose tissue, that body fat, so many things. And when people hear the word detox, they're, oh yeah, Joel, I've done that before. I'm like, no, I don't. I guarantee you probably haven't. You've probably picked up a detox tea, which, by the way, I've seen most of these teas. They're trash. I mean, they're great, but they're in such small amounts that it's not going to do what we're talking about when we think of detox, right? It's not going to do anything. And then the same thing with the juice cleanse, right? I love juice cleanses. I think they're great. You get a ton of micronutrients that people aren't getting. And so that's great. And it gives your body, like you said, a chance to rest its system. 30% of your energy is wasted on digestion. So that's great, right? But a juice cleanse is very much different than a detox. There's nothing happening in terms of detox. Yes, you might be cleansing, but you aren't detoxing your body. So that's a big difference. That's number one. The other thing is,
before you go any further, I want to get a clarification. You asked for her definition of a cleanse. What's your definition of a detox?
Yeah, so a detox, I would say we are actually removing things from your body. So whether it be, some of those xenoestrogens or the pesticides or some of those particles, right? We're actually removing things from the body versus a cleanse. I would see it as more of like, hey, like she said perfectly, like I'm giving my body a rest. And just like I alluded to, 30% of your digestion is 30% of your energy, your mitochondria is wasted on digesting food. So now you got 30% more energy. Why do people feel so much lighter? And man, I feel so great on these juice cleanses. Well, yeah, you're getting a ton of micronutrients that you may have never been getting. And so you just light up and you just saved yourself you just bought yourself 30% more energy. So everything feels good. And of course, you might be inducing some autophagy, which is where when you're fasting and the cells are recycling, right? That can be done within 24 hours. New stem cells in the intestines can be created. We've seen that. So, there are some benefits there, but that's the difference. Hopefully that makes sense.
Okay.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah, no, that totally does. So, and I agree with you there. So we did do Dr. Group with the Global Healing Institute in Texas. That's one of the guys that I just dig him. I like what he puts out. I like what he talks about. And with the liver cleanse, I thought his liver detox and cleanse was really good. It was all natural. It was really pretty cool stuff. I think you would have dug it. But even with that, let me tell you, Joel, what I discovered was, okay, well, see, I had, it had olive oil. So I drink it with some orange juice because, man, olive oil to get down on a liver cleanse is pretty gross.
Yeah.
But anywho, so I'm thinking I'm doing this and my husband gets these great results. And I'm like, why didn't I get these great results? Because I don't have a gallbladder.
You don't have a gallbladder.
I don't.
Ah, okay. Now, so typically, and just that's to me, like typically people that don't have gallbladders, that to me just screams fungal infection, just so you know. So, and maybe you would tell me like, yeah, how'd you know? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there'd probably more symptoms to talk about, but you know, the gallbladder is a cavity that fungus likes to hide in. So that can be, yeah, that can.
What about when you don't have one?
It'll find new cavities, right? So that fungus will, yeah. I mean, well, think about it, right? And that's how we operate, right? As the Western society, right? It's like, oh, you don't need that. We'll just remove it. We'll just take it out. It's like, yeah, you can survive without it. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what was happening, Joel, was I had a hysterectomy. When I had the hysterectomy, I got a staph infection from the hospital, almost died, stayed 4 weeks in ICU.
Wow.
Well, during this time, the infection attacked my internal organs. They had to get it. So they took that out, which was one of the worst. And it was hitting all of my other ones. So anyway, they thought that they would stop it by doing this, but that's the reason that they had done it.
Wow.
But never did anybody tell me, hey, you might need ox bile.
You know, it's so funny. I hear that all the time. Anytime I'm talking to somebody, I meet with a lot of women clients that don't have gallbladders, believe it or not. And I always ask that. I try to do some other things for them first, but I'm like, I just kind of assume they're on ox bile, and I'm like, are you on that? And they're like, no, why would I be? I'm like, okay, do that first at least, right, and see what relief you get. So yeah, it's amazing. Like you said, it's unfortunately not common knowledge that they should be taking that enzyme.
Well, for me, it was understanding that it's an emulsifier is what our gallbladder is. So when you get the fat, it's like if you had a glass of fat or oil and you dripped Dawn into it and it emulsifies it. Well, I guess that's what our gallbladder did. And I didn't know that. So ox bile is like the dissected it. I don't know how to say that. Dissected, the dissected.
It's like the desiccant kind of, yes.
There you go, that word. And anywho, so,
right?
You know, I have been working on this for such a long time, and I am ready to understand how to do detox better because I do have a skin issue that I haven't had in a long time. I'm just going to give y'all want to know all my stuff. I'll give you total TMI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this stuff. I mean, I would say sure, but yeah, I mean, and by the way, you and I can definitely, I mean, I'm sure we should definitely connect offline, and I'm happy to continue to help you for free. I just want to, I mean, I love to help people. So anything I can do to, I mean, seriously, anything I can do to help you, and we can dive a little bit more into your health. I'm happy to do that. That'd be fun.
Talk to me about detoxing.
Okay.
I understand that. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we were talking about two different things. So you know, the other thing we were talking about was cleansing, right? And you wanted to know. So here's the last thing I want to say to you about a cleanse too. So again, if you're doing a cleanse to just give your body a rest, beautiful. You're not going to get rid of candida with a cleanse. You're not going to get rid of candida by just resting. It'll always be there. And I'll give you another. Here's a great example. So many people are so fascinated with the carnivore diet right now, right? Carnivore. I feel amazing when I'm on carnivore. It's so great, right? All my autoimmune conditions went away. I'm not surprised. A couple of things. One is there's some good studies out there showing that plants are trying to kill you. So just be aware of that. Now, do I eat plants?
That's yes, a really encouraging thought, by the way. I just wanted to mention.
Yeah. Now, do I eat plants? Yes, I do. And I can get away with it because my body's balanced and I'm able to tolerate it, whatever, my genetic makeup, all these great things, right? But that's one reason why people do so well on carnivore, because they just completely eliminate plants, right? And the other reason is they probably had underlying root cause issues, such as candida, maybe as parasites. And guess what? When you eat only meat, none of that bacteria is being fed by the meat. It just doesn't get fed that way. So you feel amazing. And so the yeast is suppressed. But guess what? You never got rid of it. So the minute that person goes and tries to eat, let's say they're like, I'm tired of carnivore. I can only eat so many meat and organs. I want to go and have a piece of white bread like me because I love sourdough bread. I want to go have a salad. You know, they'd probably never do that. But let's just say they do. They're probably going to feel terrible because at the end of the day, they never got rid of that, right? So you have to do things in a systematic way. You've got to know how to take herbals. You know, you need to take certain probiotics. Like Debbie, you mentioned, is there certain probiotics? Yeah, you need to eat certain probiotics that actually eat the yeast. Everyone wants to just take a probiotic. Go ahead, take a probiotic, but you need a probiotic that actually eats away at the candida and eats away at the yeast. And then the last thing is you need biofilm disruptors. What happens is these yeast,
What
these
is that?
toxins, yeah, these yeast and these toxins are smart, right? You start killing them with herbals like oregano oil, like things we're talking about. Well, these yeast are very smart.
They're mutated,
And
aren't
they like to protect themselves, believe it or not. So they form these little biofilms over themselves, like these little shields to protect themselves. So you can't get to them anymore. So you need a biofilm disruptor to eat away at that biofilm. And then you can attack them with either certain probiotics or certain herbal formulations. And then that's how you systematically get away with it. And a lot of these protocols take, believe it or not, up to 3 months. Now, I know some practitioners that do different things and they claim to get better results in quicker time. And I believe them. I mean, some of these guys are good and I think they just do things differently. They might even do high dose kind of things. But yeah. So yeah, you have to, that's what you got to do when you want to get rid of something like the candida yeast, for example.
Well, I love this. What I want to talk about is the types of foods that we're eating that are the probiotics, and then talk about prebiotic. I personally love, like, at Whole Foods, they have this like beet kimchi.
Yeah.
I freaking love that stuff. It is actually really good just on top of an avocado. That's all. That's it. Just those two. But talk to me about what else is out there.
Okay. In terms of what? Sorry. There's
So
like 3 things.
Probiotic food?
Probiotic foods that you should eat. Here's the thing. In general, I think if it were me and we're just looking at like things that you should be doing, I think one is, eat fresh whole foods, right? Eat meats, eat organs, and stay away from sugar. And then, add probiotic rich foods like kimchis and sauerkrauts. I try to add as much as I can. You have to, the only thing I think that your listeners need to kind of be aware of is some people are like, well, again, and I'm the same way, right? I'm like, ooh, kombucha, it's got all these probiotics in it. I'm going to drink all this kombucha because it's supposedly good for me because it's got probiotics, right? Some people do that, but guess what? They feel worse and they may not even know it, but they're like, I'm just going to keep doing it because it's got probiotics. Same thing maybe for you. You might eat kimchi or sauerkraut and you might feel worse. So you need to have some awareness. Why? Because sauerkraut and some of these fermented foods have higher histamines. And so you just have to kind of be careful. Could you have some histamine reaction to that? So just because it's always supposedly really good doesn't mean it will always be good. Right. So but I think it's great. Look for any of those kind of fermented foods, try to get as much of them in your diet and do the varieties, sprinkle some sauerkraut, do some kimchi. That's what I try to do in my regular diet as well. That's an easy way.
That's really, I think that's really cool. Have you ever used Paudarco? Paudarco?
I have as a tea. Yes. And I used it. I made this crazy concoction many years ago, thanks to Dr. Joe Mercola. He had something on.
He has got some cool stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and so I actually just saw him at a health conference. He's an amazing energy soul, and he had created this Paudarco tea because I think it was just for what it could do to the mitochondria and the health benefits. So what I did is I used like soy lecithin. I brewed some tea. And I made I blended it all up and then I used that, put it in the fridge. And then I would use that as like a base. I would just, not as a base, but I would sprinkle, I don't know, a cup or something in my smoothie in the morning. So I would do stuff like that, but I don't drink that regularly. But yeah, Paudarco is good stuff.
Well, Paudarco, it's a tree bark, everybody, from either Venezuela or Argentina. I can't remember which. And what it was really good at getting rid of parasites. It was a really good antifungal tea that, at the time, though, this has been a few years since I've used it, but my protocol with that is I brewed it, let it steep for 2 hours, and then put it in the fridge. And I drank 1 cup of tea in the morning and then midday and at night. And I did this for like 2 weeks, and then I stopped for a week and then 2 more weeks on. And I had good results. It's kind of a woody, kind of a taste to it. You know, I was just curious because I think it was Mercola that I heard that from too.
Yeah.
So that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I would just say, like, I love these things, and I think do them just in my short experience. And listen, I have my own philosophies and ideologies, and there's other gurus out there that might say, hey, powder arco, that's the key. Like, if you do this tea in a fasted state for 7 days, you know, you'll get rid of all your parasites. Beautiful. I haven't seen it, and I'm not saying it doesn't work. If you're getting,
I don't know.
Yeah, for me, listen, I'm all about results. So if you get results with it and your clients get better, keep doing it. You know what I mean? That's all I care about. But I would say in general with parasites and stuff, there's different types of parasites. You know, you have nematodes, cestodes, and you have different kinds, and they can hide in various cavities of your body. So you can get liver flukes, you can get them in your sinuses, you can get parasites coming out of your eyes, out of your nose.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
God.
So you gotta have different herbals that will actually kill those parasites, because you can't get them all with just powder arco, from my experience, right? So you're not going to get them. You need a synergy. You need a blend to disrupt that terrain.
Sense.
Yeah.
What kind of blends are good?
So I work with. So I'll just say what I use personally, because then that'll just probably make it easier. I work under several other practitioners under a company called Cellcore, and they have some of the top of line ingredients. It's a practitioner grade. So if you're interested, you'd have to go through me or another Cellcore practitioner, and we could get you those blends. But they make various blends. So it's like, you know, they have like 5 different parasite blends, and depending where you're at and what things you have, we would use certain blends. So that's what I use personally, and that's what I've seen. I have some other ones, but like that's kind of where I'm at now. And if someone were to come to me, I wouldn't even waste time. I would just go straight to these. A really good one though, just to kind of give you an idea, is Mimosa pudica. That's a really good seed, and that Mimosa pudica that will remove some parasites. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got some questions here I want to bring in.
Yeah.
Go, Walt, because I'm looking up Mimosa pudica.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you spell it? I hope you can. Fortunately, Google can actually do sound alike. So if you make it sound close,
Google likes me. Google likes
Google's
me. It tells me, oh, this is cool. Thank you.
Yeah. She's already onto it. This is great.
I love it.
One of the things that I have routinely done here on the program is I like to give a little poke at the medical community on a regular basis, because there's so many ways. There's so many different ways. Debbie knows this. Isn't this true? I mean, seriously, I like to do this.
Let's just.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because quite honestly, the way the medical community is structured, and this is not the fault of any particular doctor, this is just the way the whole thing holds together, it's basically resistant to anything that doesn't fit their protocol. It doesn't fit their paradigm. If it doesn't fit, it's snake oil, no matter what it is.
We've seen that over the last 2 years for sure. And
by the same token, I've also had a number of guests on who are doctors who are breaking through that paradigm in their own ways. Each one's doing it a little bit differently, but they're saying, you know what I was taught really doesn't work the way it's supposed to work. I got to look for something more than that. And so they start breaking the boundaries. And I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take a little bit the medical community viewpoint for a second here. We call it devil's advocate, if you will. And I'm going to preface it by making reference to Shone, who is one of the leading spokesmen of the positive psychology movement. He tells a really great story about how his brother-in-law was in medical school, and how in medical school, when you go through medical school, you have a tendency to identify with all the different conditions and diseases that you encounter. So he says one time he got a phone call from his brother-in-law. He says, "Sean, I have the leprosy." And Sean says, what's really tough about it is that 2 weeks before that, he just gotten over menopause. So it was but it really illustrates that even
Yeah.
if you're in medical school, you are subject to this kind of thing. You focus on this stuff often enough,
Yes.
it can be a problem in its own right.
Yeah.
So this kind of points to what I wanted to bring up as a topic. I want you to address this. One of the criticisms that the mainstream medical community makes about alternative medicine is, I think, a just one, in that very often people try to fix things without actually knowing they experienced the condition. And I'm bringing this up in the context of what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. He's very much into the placebo, nocebo thing, which I am too. I think there's so much untapped reserve there that needs to be explored in a much bigger way. But I'm going to focus particularly on nocebo for a moment, because the power of the human mind to make oneself sick in a variety of different ways is unfathomed at this point. We still haven't totally grasped just how powerful that is. So I think about people, and I know next to nothing about some of the things you've been talking about. I know next to nothing about parasites. I know next to nothing about candida. So I'm not specifically going to go after them saying you're wrong about this, because I don't really know. But I'm going to use them as an example. Isn't it possible that there are people who are saying, oh God, I must have candida. Oh, I must have parasites. Therefore, I got to go do a cleanse, without actually knowing that they've got it? Because that worries me a little bit, because that starts the nocebo effect in my mind. That's where people start thinking, oh, I'm going to think about things that are actually going to make me sick, and oh, by the way, I'll get sick in the process.
Okay, so a couple of things. I mean, one, I'm thinking, well, great, that could happen regardless. And then what's the Western MD going to do? Nothing. He's going to literally.
Oh, I agree. I don't think they have a solution. I just think they have a valid complaint.
But what is the Western? What's their complaint? Is that
people are treating themselves for conditions that they don't know they actually have.
Okay. I didn't know that was I didn't know that was like a rising problem. I would say, I mean, here's the thing, right? If people are thinking about something and then they have some emotional conjure of that, of like, well, I think I might have that. I mean, for me, it's like, I don't know what to say. I mean, I would almost, to your credit, I would say, think differently. I would think, I would just wipe it out, nullify it, go back to, I'm in perfect health, and and I would be using my own affirmations, and every day in every way, I'm getting better and better, and I'm in perfect health. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. So I've seen people get better just by using the subconscious correctly and guiding them that way. So I have seen that, like you said. So I don't know. I mean, I think to me, the Western complaint would be, well, you got them better, and you gave them a pill, you gave them a parasite pill or something, let's say, and then they got better. That's not why they got better. And then
because it wasn't placebo controlled, double blind.
Whatever, and they're just like they're just mad because there's no way that could have happened. You have to give them antibiotics or something. It's like, well, again, I don't care what you think. I'm about results. So whether I use the nocebo technique or I got them better on a legit protocol, I don't care. Did they get better? Yes. When they were in your office, did they get better? No. So I don't care. I'm about results. That's the way I look at it, right?
Well, by the way, the same complaint applies also to conventional medicine, because they do the same thing. They won't acknowledge it. Well, but they'll diagnose something without actually knowing that you got it, and then treat you for it. So it works both ways.
Right. And my argument towards them, and I'll just tell you this, and then Debbie, jump on in. Dr. Robert Rowan, when I interviewed him, he's a kind of I don't know if he's famous, but he's a famous functional medicine doctor who's very prolific in ozone therapy. And when I interviewed him, he said, Joel, in the interview, midway through the interview, he takes out $100 bill. He's like, I'll give you $100 right now if you can tell me a disease that a Western MD has ever cured. And I had
I love the question. Yeah, this is
he
great.
goes, I've done this in auditoriums of doctors. I've done this for like the last 30 years. No one's taken my money. He said, actually, one guy, I gave it to him on a technicality, and I forget what it was, some like rare disease, like kind of like, got through the nooks and crannies. And he's like, other than that, he's like, I've never lost my money. And he's like, that's my point. And so that's what I would put back at any of those people that say that.
Well, I think I love that. And I think a lot of that is very true. So what I know for a fact is getting to the root of the issue is really what I've heard. This conversation's been about get to the root. If you don't get to the root, you're just treating the symptoms, and we all know that doesn't work. As far as the placebo, not the placebo, then you're getting into epigenetics. And when you get into epigenetics, bring in Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, and Joe Dispenza, and let's rock this shit. Because look, epigenetics is about not only your belief system, it turns the genes on and off. So it's safe to consider that is true. But like in everything, I think in life, and there are people who've had spontaneous healings and recoveries because they do believe that. However, what I also believe is that it's actionable steps to also obtain that. I think that our body needs, because if you listen to any of these teachers, they're also talking about the environment, your mind. All of those things are part of what takes place in our healing process. And I'm still, like, obviously in the learning process. I think that Western medicine has a place because it can give you information maybe you didn't have. Like years ago, I had radiation and for my thyroid, and now I have to get a checkup, and then they see this thing and they've got to do this thing. And I'm like, yeah. But however,
listen, I'm no idiot too. If I fall off my roof and I break my arm, I'm going to go see a Western MD.
I'm probably sure you
100%.
Like, but when it comes to dis-ease, and getting to the root of dis-ease, we all know that is a whole different subject. And epigenetics really talks about the root of dis-ease, like what you were talking about, Walt, with placebo or not placebo, being our thoughts, our environment, and how we treat our bodies. Now, that's about as much as I know on that right now, but I've just been into this for so long. Like I get off on this kind of information. I read it. Oh God, I could eat it. Give me, just love new information. It's so good.
Information is empowering for sure, because the more that you have, the more that you can work with. Doesn't mean you're going to necessarily use all of it. Nobody uses all of the information that they have. But when you've got it, now you have options.
Unless you're
now you have some ideas. Okay, I can go down this route. I can go down that road, and I can go back and do this road again later on if I want to. I mean, because when you have the information, you can do stuff. It's when you lack information, then it's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you don't have the roadmap, right? If you don't have the roadmap, you don't know where you're starting and where you're going to end. So
pretty much
it makes it really tough. Yeah.
So tell me about this product. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I like your question. Go for it.
You don't know it.
No. He already likes your question better, Debbie. This is good.
Well, Walt, and Louise knows. Walt was a smart man. No. Guess who his wife is, Louise. What I'm curious. So the product that you're selling is this.
Oh, by the way, I'm not selling any of that stuff. That's a brand that I use. That's a functional medicine grade brand.
Oh, so this is a brand that you use.
Yeah, this isn't like.
How do we determine?
Joel didn't invent that.
Okay, that's cool. What I want to know is on this. How would I even know where to start with who? They've got so many. We've got lymph and.
You wouldn't. That's why you'd come talk to somebody like me, and I'd help guide you through it. Yeah, it's pretty complicated. I mean, the page is honestly, it's very basic, and it's more set up for the practitioner. So and they know that because their systems they're not complicated when you understand it, but they're complicated for anybody just like jumping in, right? Even you, someone who has like a lot of health knowledge and is like, well, I've done a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of cleanses. I kind of get this stuff. It's still, like you said, it's kind of overwhelming. So that's why you would want to find a practitioner that could help you along the way and get you access to those things. And that's what they want, because they want a practitioner to work with somebody and guide them through these things, because it's not just cookie cutter.
Right. And I'm curious. Okay, so And how did you find this company versus other companies out there? And what makes this better than other companies? And do you recommend products that are not in this company?
Yeah, good question. So a couple things. What happened was I started my health coach journey, and I still am, with a naturopath who really like showed me the way. And he has his own functional medicine brand. So I used a lot of his stuff, and I still to this day, I still use it, because guess what? It gets results and I like it. And it's even somewhat simpler. And again, if I can get you results, then I'm really happy. So I I'm kind of in the health community, right? And of course, I'm surrounded by a lot of good health experts and people. And I was asking a friend of mine, I said, hey, I'm looking to do maybe a better heavy metal cleanse for my son. And I go, you got any thoughts? I go, I know there's this guy, Dr. Chris Shade, who's very famous in terms of detox, and he has some good stuff. It's pretty expensive though. So I was like, I just don't know. I'm like, if it's worth it, I mean, I'm sure it is. He knows his stuff, and I understand kind of the method to his madness. But I'm like, it's kind of expensive. And then he goes, oh, dude, you should check out Cellcore. And I'm like, man, it's so funny you say that, because I have another friend who's a health coach, and she was using all their stuff. And so that was how actually it was her that I saw using the stuff.
Yeah.
And then my friend telling me, you should check out Cellcore. I'm like, that's so funny. Like 6 months ago, someone was talking about it. I go, let me check them out. So that's how I got affiliated with them. And then I kind of went down the rabbit hole and really just kind of enjoy and like what they say. Now, what makes them different? You can, one of the big things that they tout is carbon technology. And so they are, it's just a super high grade. We are made of carbons, we're made of hydrogens, and we're made of oxygens. And so they use this carbon technology. So it's just extremely bioavailable and usable. The other thing that I have become really bullish on, and I think really I'm at the point where just over the last maybe 3 months, I've come up with this, and I believe everybody should probably, I believe everybody should be on a fulvic mineral supplement. That's how bullish I am with fulvic minerals. The more I've learned about
say that name again. I'm not sure what you just said.
Fulvic, yeah. Fulvic.
That's a thing going. Yeah, that's a thing going around right now. I'd love to know more about it. Is it coming from
there's various places in the earth that they source it, but it's like just one of the most, again, energetic, bioavailable minerals that you can get. Mm-hmm. And why I'm so bullish on it is because a couple of things. One is fulvic minerals are great for charging your body, giving your body ATP. So giving your body that charge, that negative charge, right? Giving you electrons to move, to do things. So that's number one. Number two is it's good for the gut. It suppresses and kills candida. So that's another one I like. And then number three is I interviewed Dr. Stephanie Seneff, who's an expert in glyphosate. She just wrote a great book called Toxic Legacy. And glyphosate is just one of the worst things. I used to think it wasn't that big a deal. And the more I've learned about glyphosate, which is like Roundup, the weed killer that they spray on all the pesticides on all the crops, right? Yeah. The more I've learned about that, I think it is one of the worst things that we are facing. And it helps pull that out of your body as well. So for those three reasons alone, I think we're all being exposed to glyphosate daily. I'm just walking around here on the outside. I'm going to be in the air. It's in the air. It's everywhere. So I think everybody should be on a fulvic mineral. So, but in their supplements, they use fulvic and humic minerals, and they're usually in the base of like everything they do. So I really like that as well.
What is humic? Humic sounds like something that would oxygenate or something ourselves. What is it?
Yeah, humic is similar to the fulvic. You'll see those a lot of times sold together, but the humic, what I would say is it's going to help a little bit more with detoxification and binding to other toxins and removing them. So I would use the humic I would use the humic to trap other.
Oh, the humic's an actual, okay. Humic relating to humus.
Yeah.
Humus.
You might even call it humic. Yeah.
Humic.
Yeah.
Aha. So they're a long chain molecule that are high in weight and Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
Shilajit. So it's sort of like Shilajit. This is what this stuff is pulling, like the fulvic acid is the Shilajit.
People that were taking Shilajit for a long time that really like it. I think that's probably one of the reasons why they're getting some of the benefits of it. Mm-hmm. And for me, I've tried Shilajit in the past. I can't stand the taste. I
gross as all hell.
It's gross. I mean, I can do whatever. If it's supposed to be healthy for me, I'll take it. But I'd rather not.
Yeah, but no, there's a poop nasty.
I haven't pooped with Shilajit in a long time, so I can't remember that.
No, I'm talking. I don't mean pooped with it. I'm talking about the poop. It's a poopy smell. It's got.
Oh yeah,
nasty. Yeah. It's like a.
No, yeah, you're right.
Very It's very Shilajit is gassy. We'll just call it
Yeah,
that.
and the only thing I don't know, the thing I've heard about Shilajit, and I'm not 100% sure because I just don't use it, and I'm not in that community anymore. I don't really follow it too closely, but I know that I think some of the complaints is that it might be high in other metals or lead and stuff like that. So you probably have to be careful with that. But yeah.
So what's the best form of fulvic and humic?
You can get, so I'll tell you right now, there's a couple brands that I like. Cellcore, of course, being one of them. I think that's a great one. I just interviewed Carolyn Allen. She has a great company called Beam Minerals. They're great.
Okay.
She makes a brand. I mean, she's got a great story. She basically healed by just adding minerals into her life. She had
sense.
Like receding teeth and all kinds of mouth inflammation, all kinds of issues. And all she did was start adding fulvic minerals into her life. She started getting better. She's like, oh my God, I'm very passionate about this. I got to do something. I'm going to make a product about it. So she did. And she's got a wonderful story. And so I like her company as well. I would say those.
I'm curious what you feel about Irish sea moss. Irish sea moss has 92 of our essential minerals. And if you use it with bladderwrack and burdock root, you get 102 of your daily minerals. But what other minerals? So, I mean, but I don't know that it has fulvic acid. But so what's your vibe on the sea moss? Because it's a thing right now.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I've interviewed twice on my podcast a algae expert. So her name, she has a company that she sells chlorella and spirulina and it's called Energy Bits. And she's a beautiful soul too. And she just geeks out on the algae. But so people always ask me, okay, well, what do you think is better? I always get this question. What about sea mineral moss, right? So here's my thing with minerals, with sea mineral moss. First of all, one, I don't know. I don't really take it. But two is, in my opinion, I think it's great. But it's probably just in very small dosages. Yeah, it has 92 minerals? What did you just say?
Well, the Irish sea moss in its pure gel form says that 92 minerals that our body naturally has, and if you add in bladderwrack and burdock root, you'll bump that to 102.
Yeah. So yeah, you're getting all these minerals, and you're feeling great, and you think, oh, this is awesome. So one is you might have that placebo effect, right? You might be like, I'm feeling amazing because it's the sea moss. Then great, keep taking it. I don't care. But the other thing is, in my opinion, it's just the quantity you're getting is probably very too little. And so what I've seen is like bump people's numbers up. If you're low in zinc, for example, and you're like, but Joel, I'm taking sea mineral moss, or Joel, shouldn't I take this? I'm going to say no, because you're not going to bump those numbers up. Unfortunately, you need that orthomolecular, you're going to need a higher dose. And the only way you're going to get that is through some type of supplement or food. Yeah.
Eat some seaweed, for goodness sake. Eat that Irish seaweed.
Eat that Irish seaweed, right? And then and really the last thing I'll say too on that note is I've really started to pull back from and I take these things though, like the mineral mosses and stuff. I don't have to take that specifically, but I do take some of these things in my daily. What I like to remind people is this. If you're low on zinc, and that's the example, let's just say you're low on zinc. Why are you low on zinc in the first place? Is it your diet that you're just not getting enough? For a lot of people, there's a toxicity that's creating a deficiency, right? It's blocking your absorption of zinc. Now, the old school doctor or even health coach would say, no problem. I'm just going to bump your zinc levels up here. Take some more zinc. Great. So we have you taking more zinc. But my thing is, let's just, instead of using that zinc to get you over your threshold, let's just remove the toxicity. And now you're making the zinc that you need to make. So that's really where my philosophy has gone in the last couple of years too. And just remove the toxicity that's creating the deficiency and get you better.
Actually, I got to agree with that. Getting to the root cause of any issue, be it emotional, physical, whatever, spiritual root cause, pull it up by the root. And I really think that that's awesome, because that's what have you seen the fabulous fungi?
No.
The documentary. You got to see that. It's really cool.
It was Walt that told me about that.
Yeah. You know what's funny? This about a year ago, they reached out to me and they wanted me to promote it or something like that. And I said, sure. And then I never heard back from them. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's a fabulous film. Mainly, I mean, it's fabulous for anybody simply because the photography and the CGI are spectacular. So even if you know nothing about it and don't really care to know anything about it, it's still worth seeing just for that alone. But
my kids would love
that,
this. So yeah, we'll have to watch that.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But even beyond that, anyone who has any interest in mushrooms and fungi are going to love it, because it goes into a lot of stuff that the rest of the world never even hears about.
Yeah.
What is your website?
JoelEvanCoaching.com. So yeah,
www.joelevancoaching.com.
Yep.
Super nice site. And I really do. I want to know more. I definitely want to learn more about the products you have. Like, quite frankly, they look really high end.
Yeah.
So I can't decide from looking at it what in the hell I might need. And, between my bioidentical hormones, my adrenal boost, and I don't know. I'm on.
Well, that actually goes back to the point that I was raising. So let's see if we can address this. How does somebody know what to do?
I don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, so there's a couple of things you could do, right? One is, the obvious one is run labs, right? Because if you have labs, you have the data, and the data doesn't lie. So, hey, there we are. What I do with a lot of my clients is I have them fill out a really comprehensive health intake form, and then just talking to them, I can 80% gather okay, this sounds like this is what's going on without running a lab. But again, if you want the data, go out and run a lab. So those two things, a health intake form. And then the other thing is you could do energy testing or muscle testing, which is something I'm just starting to get into.
Oh, that's way cool.
I'm not a pro at that yet, but that is something that I've seen that's been really, really neat and really
cool. Want to learn the best muscle test. The best place to learn muscle testing out there is the practitioner, Robin Williams. Not the funny haha, the Robin Williams that works directly with Bruce Lipton. And as a matter of fact, if you watch the Bruce Lipton clip from long ago called You Are the Belief of Biology, but it's a while back, right afterwards is Robin Williams, and he teaches an incredible form of muscle testing. I really like his approach, and it's great. To become a practitioner with him is quite expensive. However, I would imagine really worth it. I think he's one of the leaders personally.
And it's Robin, Robin, same name?
Correct. Same name, but in association with Bruce Lipton. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. I'll check him out then. That's awesome. Good to know.
And tell us a little bit about the coaching service that you offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like I said, I've been doing kind of the holistic health coach that we've just dived like a whole hour just geeking out on it. So you guys see, I'm passionate about it. You guys are passionate about it, but I work with a lot of, believe it or not, I work with a lot of weight loss clients, because metabolic health is just such a problem right now. And the stat right now that's going around is it's pretty bleak. It's like 88% of us are metabolically unfit. That means 12% of the nation is actually doing okay. And that's sad. So I work with a lot of weight loss clients. And then the other thing that I'm really good at is gut health. So anybody looking for any of those areas, feel free to reach out to me. I'm pretty active on Instagram at Joel Evan Coaching. I made it very simple for people, so it's the same as the website. You can connect with me there, or simply shoot me an email, info@joelevancoaching.com.
Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok. Yeah, I'm starting to get more active there. And it's same thing at Joel Evan Coaching.
Okay, cool. I'm getting your Instagram right now. Nice.
The consistency too. From a marketer's perspective, I appreciate the fact that you're making it so easy to find you no matter where you are. That's very good. That's smart.
Well, my brother will be very happy. He helps me with he does a lot of my videography. He did my website, so that kudos to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your website's bomb. Seriously. Yeah, it's really good.
And he helps me. I had originally changed my name multiple times. Like, no, you got to keep it the same. It makes it easy for people. I'm like, okay,
yes, I'm
going to trust in you, my friend. So it's been working out, I think.
That way they don't have to think about it. They just know that's what I have to go for. Joel Evan Coaching. It's that simple.
Yep.
That's the way it be. Yeah. And we'll make it even more simple, because we'll put the link to the website into the show notes too. So that we'll make it about as simple as you can possibly make it. Let's put it
beautiful.
Well, I had lots of super information today, Joel, and thank you. I've got all kinds of questions.
Okay, beautiful. So, yeah, I'm happy to dive in with you. Yeah, anytime. Seriously.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll connect after the show, and please keep in touch.
And I also want to tell you what I'm making it a practice now to tell so many of the great guests who come on the show, and you're definitely one of them, because there are many, many people who have either heard your podcast or heard you on a podcast like ours, or seen something that you wrote or something along that line, and you help them, but you never know about it because you'll never meet them, you'll never see them, but you help them in some way that you never knew about. And I think we need to recognize that in a much bigger way. So on their behalf, I'm going to thank you for what you've done for them and what you're continuing to do for them going forward.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. I love that. Thank you.
Very much appreciate. And we really appreciate your time with us. This has been very interesting, quite fascinating. Debbie, you were obviously, as usual, the perfect interlocutor for this. I mean, you knew exactly what questions you asked questions. I was thinking to myself, what is she talking about? But she knew.
She did.
No, he does too.
Yeah.
That's the
He did too. Yeah.
I know enough to be dangerous, though. I don't know enough because it's not my profession. That's why I ask questions and I'm open to more information because, well, we all are. But the fact is I'm seeking to how do I have optimal health? And I'm on a really journey for that right now. So yay.
Yeah. And the neat thing too is people resonate with your story, Debbie, and you know people. So if I help you, it doesn't have to be me, but let's just say if I help you, you're going to go help out like 5 other people. And I love that. That's what I live for. So
yeah, that multiplier effect is really, really something.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
I even had a story I was going to tell. We're out of time, so I'll save it for the next episode. But it really illustrates in a very positive way how it's a story of how one kind event led to another kind event, led to another kind event, led to a fourth kind event, which rebounded back to repeat the first event. It was an absolutely perfect circle of events.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, great story. But I'll have to save it for Monday. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your insights and the knowledge that you've shared. And thank you for what you do with all the people that you help. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Joel.
And thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Fuck.